plane crash in Algeria has killed more than 250 people. State media call it the country's worst air disaster. The military aircraft crashed just after taking off from an air base near the capital. The Defense Ministry says most of the people on board were military personnel. However, some family members were on that plane as well. We've got Michael Serapio tracking the story. What more do you know about this crash now, Michael?
Well, at this point, Suhana, the site of the crash remains an active investigation seen as the Algerian military examines what happens here. And with that, let's bring in a map here so that people can situate themselves as to where this crash happened. Now, as you said, it was near the capital, the plane departing from a military airport in Boufarik. Now, that's about 35 kilometers southwest of Algiers. And as for the latest visuals, you got a taste of it right off top, but let's go back to what we're now getting from on the ground in Algeria. Emergency vehicles surrounding the plane as smoke continues to billow above the wreckage. As you said, more than 250 people are reportedly dead. 257 is the number being quoted by media on the ground. Most of the members of the Algerian military, but there are also 10 crew members on board. And as for those family members you referenced, to whom they're related, who was actually on board that plane, we still don't know. That hasn't been reported. There have been some reports of survivors being treated in hospital. The question is, are they survivors of the crash or were they people on the ground? That is something that we're still looking into right now. What we can tell you is that this plane was a Russian-made model, a Russian-made Ilyushin plane. That kind of model has been in production since the 1970s with a fairly good track record. As for this plane, it was a different model entirely. It was a Hercules Ilyushin plane. And so some things need to be confirmed here. Let's bring in some boards, though, about some of the history here with plane crashes in Algeria, because this is the deadliest one, but the deadliest one since 2014, when an Air Algerian plane went down over Mali. That crash killed 116 people. And in February of that same year, 77 people died when an Algerian Air Force plane crashed into the country's eastern mountains. In that case, it was a Lockheed C-130 Hercules transport. But again, this was an Ilyushin plane that went down. The Army's chief of staff says he will be on site later today to inspect what has happened, and an investigation, as I said, well underway, but certainly this is more a recovery effort than anything else.